Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels and short stories. I've searched high and low for a video showcasing the most brutal, vicious mockery insults my fellow YouTubers have to offer, and I've come away wanting. Vicious mockery insults are supposed to sting so badly that they do actual psychic damage to the target. Your mother was an owlbear, and you kiss like a mimic just aren't going to cut it. But do not fret, my pets. For on this, the occasion of my channel reaching 4,000 subscribers, I shall attempt to fill the void in your hearts with 100 of the most scathing, vicious mockery insults I could come up with. Bear in mind, the jokes you're about to hear aren't for everyone. If they were, they'd be your mom. Ready? Here we go. Is that your face, or did you make a ski mask out of your mom's scrotum? If your mom was a monk, her subclass would be Way of the Open Legs. What's cold and white and comes in gallons? A hockey team on your mom's face. What's the difference between your mom and a druid? A druid doesn't need 8 dudes to turn her into a sperm wheel. I mistook your mom for a night hag. Turns out she's fuck ugly during the day as well. If your mom was a bard, her favorite spell would be Identify, the fathers of all her kids. Your mom handles more packages than Galder's speedy courier. If your mom was a fighter, her favorite feature would be second-chinned. Your mom is so fat, when she wants to cast Disguise Self, she needs to cast Hallucinatory Terrain instead. What does your mom have in common with druids? She can also lick her own balls. How does your mom kill mind flayers? She starves them to death. If your mom was a ranger, her subclass would be Horizon Blocker. I wanted to lose 600 pounds of disgusting fat quickly, so I cast Banishment on your mom. Why can't your mom be a warlock? Because her patrons usually pay her in crack. Your mom's so ugly, my magic missiles wouldn't touch her. If your mom was an artificer, her favorite spell would be Phallus Life. I asked a wizard to make me a portable hole. He turned me into your mom. If your mom was a cleric, her favorite feature would be Channel Divinity. Why was your mom forbidden from casting the fly spell? She was affecting the tides. What does your mom have in common with monks? She's not good for much, but she does her best work while not wearing anything. What would you call your mom if she was a contortionist? Horigami. If your mom was a fighter, her subclass would be Straddle Master. Why are beholders afraid of your mom? I mean, think what it's like to look at her with only 2 eyes. Why can't your mom be a barbarian? Because 5th edition barbarians are no longer illiterate. Your mom sure does suck a lot of hill giant dicks, but then I guess she does tend to blow things out of proportion. If your mom was a sorcerer, her favorite spell would be Jismatic Spray. How do you bring down a charging bugbear? Tell her how much your mom charges for similar services. If your mom was a warlock, her favorite feature would be otherworldly penetration. If I had a nickel for every goblin I blew in the dark alley behind a tavern, I'd be your mom. What does your mom have in common with fighters? When it comes to blows, there's nothing she likes more than a proper fisting. I offered to buy your mom a drink. She told me to get in line and she'd suck one out of me instead. If your mom was a paladin, her subclass would be Oath of the Weight Watchers. Your mom gazes upon more hard flesh than Medusa. Why can't your mom be a druid? Because round isn't all that wild a shape. I cast Dominate Beast. Your mom got the lead role. If your mom was a wizard, her favorite spell would be Fist Socket. Your mama didn't raise no fool. She sold you for crack instead. If your mom was a monk, her favorite feature would be sustenance from blows. Why are dragons afraid of your mom? Because they heard how effortlessly she destroys scales. What does your mom have in common with rogues? Her targets are often surprised when she penetrates them from behind. You've got a face only a mother could love, but you're getting too old to keep sucking her dick all the time. If your mom was a bard, her subclass would be College of Whore. Your mom thought D20 was an hourly quota. Why can't your mom be a bard? Because a rusty trombone isn't a musical instrument. What's a displacer beast? It's what the merfolk call your mom whenever she steps into the ocean. If your mom was a warlock, her favorite spell would be Thickening Radius. Whoever said sex with your mom was worth the wait obviously wasn't underneath her. If your mom was a sorcerer, her favorite feature would be Font of Vagic. Alright, sorry, that one was really gross. Have you seen my gauntlets of ogre power? I think I might have accidentally left them in your mom. What does your mom have in common with clerics? Her most divine work is done on her knees. Your mom's body is covered in so much dried orc sperm that if she ever took a shower, her armor class would go down by 2. If your mom was a rogue, her subclass would be Turning Trickster. What has 10 fists but only 2 hands? Your mom on a slow night. Why can't your mom be an artificer? The only tool she has expertise with is cock. Sure, you could take down a few buildings with a level 8 earthquake spell, or you could cast a level 1 jump spell on your mom and level the whole city. If your mom was a ranger, her favorite spell would be Dong Rider. Your mom takes more loads than a repeating crossbow. If your mom was a paladin, her favorite feature would be Lay on Beds. Why did your mom cast Find Greater Steed? Because regular-sized horse dicks weren't doing it for her anymore. What does your mom have in common with bards? Her mouth brings pleasure to dozens of men every single day. Healing Word is a great spell for getting fallen allies back on their feet. That is, of course, unless it's your mom, in which case you also need a crane. If your mom was a cleric, her subclass would be Carnal Knowledge Domain. I was surprised to see your mom wearing white at her wedding. That is, until I realized she was just covered in orc jizz. Why can't your mom be a paladin? Because when she lays on hands, it spreads disease. What do flour, water, yeast, and your mom have in common? They're all inbred. If your mom was a cleric, her favorite spell would be Spare the Diet. What does your mom have in common with Humpty Dumpty? She remains broken despite all the king's men and their horses having a go at her. If your mom was a druid, her favorite feature would be yeast smells. The good news is that your mom successfully made it out of the area of the Sickening Radiance spell. Unfortunately, she still suffered a level of exhaustion for walking 10 feet. What does your mom have in common with sorcerers? Her particular set of skills certainly didn't come from reading books. Unarmed fighting is a great style for fighters that turn up in battle with nothing but your mom's dick in their hand. If your mom was a barbarian, her subclass would be Path to the Bare Scrotum Warrior. Does your mom have some sort of fungus, or have her crabs advanced enough to develop agriculture? Why can't your mom be a monk? Because her idea of a flurry of blows is a cupful of sperm from the staff of McDonald's. Your mom claimed she could cast Misty Step, but it turns out that moving 30 feet just makes her really sweaty. Why can't your mom be a cleric? Because the only things she knows how to turn are tricks. What's the difference between your mom and a musket? One takes 3 minutes to load, and the other takes 3 loads a minute. If your mom was an artificer, her favorite feature would be slight jewel for the knob. Don't you just love watching the autumn leaves turn yellow, red, and brown? It's so much more pleasant than watching your mom's underwear do the same thing. Again, that was a little too gross. What does your mom have in common with rangers? The more shafts she releases, the more fluid she spills. Your mom was in all the newspapers this morning. She was using them as a blanket while she fucked 3 hobos in an alley. If your mom was a sorcerer, her subclass would be dock worker's hole. I've got one of your mom's pubes stuck in my teeth. Do you have a toothpick? Or an erection? Why can't your mom be a fighter? Because her idea of an action surge is getting up to go to the refrigerator. Oh, you said you visited the Tomb of Horrors. For a second there, I thought your mom had died. If your mom was a druid, her favorite spell would be Move Girth. I made a spot check for your mom's dick. It was indeed covered in spots. If your mom was a rogue, her favorite feature would be coming action. The good news, I finally learned how to cast Speak with Animals. The bad news, your mom's pubic lice are calling her a slumlord. What does your mom have in common with artificers? She has expertise in handling men's tools. Your mom's too stupid to be a wizard, but she sure knows how to turn my flesh to stone. If your mom was a warlock, her subclass would be sex trade. If your mom was a bard, her favorite feature would be jack off all dudes. What does your mom have in common with paladins? You definitely want the benefits of protection whenever you're with her. Why can't your mom be a ranger? Because soap doesn't count as a favored enemy. Your mom's crotch has more lice than a homeless Wookiee. If your mom was an artificer, her subclass would be cattle's width. What's the difference between your mom and Jesus? When your mom only gets nailed 3 times, that's not a Good Friday. If your mom was a wizard, her favorite feature would be arcanal positions. What does your mom have in common with wizards? When she pulls out her magic rod, your ass is in for a world of hurt. All right, that was 100 Vicious Mockery insults. I hope you enjoyed them. I also hope you'll like this video and subscribe to the channel and join us for more fun in the future. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.